This is the Voice of the Land on the Big Play Network with your hosts, Kevin Arnold and Jay Banky.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome on in to your VTL Voice of the Land extra clip of the week, sponsored by Vector Technical. They will get the right person in the right job the first time. We are on the Big Play Network and partner with LPV Productions. I am one of your hosts, Kevin Arnold. You can catch us live every single Sunday night at 7 p.m., but sometimes we do these extra clips because we don't get to everything we want to talk about. Sometimes you just have to get those things off your chest. So I am joined by Always Positive Jay and our producer extraordinaire behind the proverbial glass, Peter Tulip. And we were mentioning on the show that we had recorded this week, recorded live, and of course replaying at VTL_pod and on all podcast platforms with the audio there, about rooting. And the NFL playoffs are going on. There is an Ohio team in there. Some Browns fans have talked about, well, I'm going to root for the Bengals because they're from Ohio. And when you go into NCAA tournament or you go into national championships and there is a Big Ten representative or some sort of rival school that's representing the conference that your team plays for, or rival team that is representing those conferences, those divisions, to give it some sort of good light, people talk about, you got to root for them because that's how the spotlight stays on your teams as well. They can help you out. I have always hated that argument and hated that conversation. I'm already off the NFL playoffs because how the Brown season went. I sure as hell am not rooting for anybody. I'm not rooting for the Bengals. Yeah, Joe Burrow is a good dude. He's from Ohio, and he's from Athens, Ohio, especially in an area close to where my in-laws are from, but I'm not rooting for him just because he's from Ohio. He plays for a rival team. I hate when people say that they're going to root for a rival team. And Jay, I know you've said all the time, like, people can fan however they want. For some reason, it just irks me so much. And I don't want to tell people how to fan. And if they want to root for rivals, that's fine. I guess what I'm saying is, don't tell me that I have to do something when you don't want to be told that you don't want to fan a certain way. I think that's more the conversation. I'm told all the time, you got to root for your rivals. You got to get a good look.
You know what you got to do, Kevin?
Do whatever you want.
Happy, man. Straight up. Like, if you want to root for the Bengals, root for the Bengals. If you don't want to root for the Bengals, I'm with you. I don't want to root for them. I want them to lose as quick as they can. I don't want them gaining experience. That's my personal preference. If you want to root for other teams and that's what makes you happy and makes your NFL experience better, good for you. But like Kevin said, don't push it on me like, oh, you should do this and you should do that. No, you should do whatever makes you happy.
And it just doesn't feel right if I'm rooting for that team up north, or I'm rooting for.
Oh, that happens all the time too. With some people, like, oh, like they wanted Michigan to win, and then the other half didn't want Michigan to win. Like, yeah.
Oh, but the Big Ten's going to look so good if that team up north wins and they go into the championship game or even win it. No, I don't give a crap. Jim Harbaugh got one nice game against Ohio State. He hasn't proven anything that he can actually win big games at that school up north. So why do I care if he wins or not? Because if he does, it's, then all I got to hear is about that school. You don't hear anything about the Big Ten when other teams win. Just like when Ohio State wins, all you hear about is Ohio State, and everybody takes issue with that because Ohio State in football and most other sports, just like Duke in basketball, are two of the most hated fan bases and hated schools because of how some of the fans can be. And there's extremes everywhere right now with how toxic Twitter is. But you look at just Ohio State and Duke, a lot of people hate those schools and they hate when they get talked about all the time. But whoever wins a championship, whether it's college or pros or whatever sport it may be, that's the team that gets all the publications. It's not the AFC North. It's not the Big Ten. And even in high school, it's not the CBC that gets the credit. It's the team that won. And if you're a rival of that team, I don't see, and just to explain my side, I don't see any sort of relevance or anything I get out of it by rooting for a rival that every other day out of the year, I truly have a true hatred and disdain for, I may respect their good players, but a true hatred and disdain for, and was brought up to be that way, I will never utter that team and I am rooting for you in the same sentence. Peter.
All right, Kevin, I'll ask you this
Yeah.
real quick, because I see this happen a lot too. Now, if someone just wants to root for the Bengals and they're Browns fans, right? Like, or a lot of people say the Bills are their secondary team that they root for when the Browns go out. Do you consider those people not diehard Browns fans? I guess is they like a lot of people come at those people like, oh, you're not a diehard Browns fan if you root for another team. I personally don't believe that. Like, if you want to do it, go ahead. Like, whatever. Like I said, if that's what makes you happy, I don't care. Do whatever you want to do. And if you love the Browns, number one, that's just how your setup is. That's how you made your fandom. It's your life. You shouldn't have to be put in guidance from other people when it comes to sports. It's sports. Like, come on, it's not a big deal. I personally don't think so, but a lot of people get like pretty upset. Like, you can't root for another team if you root for the Browns. Like, I guess. What do you think?
I mean, I am that way, but I'm never going to, if I wanted to get us clicks and likes and follows for this show and for myself as I try to build my own career, like a lot of the, established guys in the national media do, and even sometimes in local medias across the country do, they try to put that hot take out there, even if they don't fully believe in it, or they don't even believe it at all, but they just want to they know how to get under people's skin. If I wanted to do that, I would say, oh, clearly they're not diehard fans, but I can't say that because I don't see them. All I see is one tweet that they're saying like, well, the Bills are similar to us, or the Bengals are in Ohio, and I'm going to go root for them. Like, I don't know what they're doing when the Browns are actually playing. And when we're having these deep offseason conversations that we're going to have here soon about the Browns, I don't know how they're approaching those. So I can't tell you if someone's diehard or not. And that would be disrespectful from my end to say that they're not diehard, because I don't know their full story and where they come from, what they were brought up as a sports fan. But I will say, I cannot stand when people in this area say, and this is just personal preference, and I have friends that are Bills fans. I honestly have no disdain towards that team. I just can't stand when that seems to be the trendy thing to do instead of act like a real conversation about it, like we're doing right now. It just seems to be like, follow the crowd, follow the peer pressure. People in Ohio, they heard one person say it, so they just say it themselves, that the Bills are just like the Browns. They've been through the same kind of futility, and like we can relate to them and how passionate we are, and look at our tailgates and their tailgates. I mean, they're going through tables and putting their lives on the line. I mean, I couldn't even do that even if I was somewhat under the influence of adult beverages. But I can't stand when Cleveland fans do that, and they say that the Bills are let Bills fans root for their team, and if they're going to have success, more power to them. I get nothing out of the Bills winning a playoff game or a championship. I don't know what I get out of it. If someone can explain that to me, when they are going to be a fan of the Browns and then root for another team when the Browns aren't playing, more power to you. I'll have that conversation all day.
Like, no matter any of these teams win, even if there's teams I want to win, when they win, I don't get joy from it. I don't I'll never have it'll never be like when the Cavs won that championship. Like, that's a moment I'll never forget. It was just pure happiness, jumping up and down like a little kid. None of these teams are going to do that to me. But like I was going to say, with the Bills stuff, I know a lot of our alliance with the Bills has to do with when the Browns left, that the owners of the Bills like really stood up for Browns fans and saying like, no, you can't take the Browns away from Cleveland. You can't, like, the Browns belong in Cleveland. And that, for a lot of the older guys, that's why they respect the Bills. Like, I respect the Bills. I don't root for the Bills. Like, I don't care if they win. I don't care if they lose.
I respect my friends that are Bills fans. Do I respect the Bills? I don't know. I don't know if whatever. I know that they helped, and all those people have changed. The players from that time to now have changed.
Kevin?
I was only 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah, that's
And
why
yes,
that story doesn't pertain to you, though. That's what you were saying. You don't know what other, like, everyone has a reason
right.
for what they do.
Oh, trust me, they would tell me because, the common thing in Cleveland or a lot, especially on sports talk radio or sports talk just in local markets is, well, I'm 65 and I've been a fan for 40 years. And, I saw this and this before they actually get to their point. Sometimes that irks me, and not to turn people off of our show. Like we want them to tell us those stories here on the Voice of the Land. But like, I know that people will come back and be like, you don't even know because you weren't alive. Well, I'm not going to give you crap because you respect them for that reason. Like, that's fine. You experienced it. I wasn't, whatever power may be that you believe in, didn't have it in their cards for me to be old enough to understand at that time when those things were happening. So guess what? I have a different understanding and experience with seeing Buffalo Bills and the NFL and sports in general. So guess what? My fandom approach is going to be different. And that's why real conversations are so much more fun than one extreme or the other. I respect the people that have different experiences than me and bring that to the table and explain to me why their opinion differs from me. And I will have those conversations just like you will, Jay, and just like Peter will, all day long.
Like, I literally have a kid that started here, and he's young. He's from Buffalo, huge fan. And the other kid, his buddy who started with him, is a young Browns fan. He's younger than you. He knew nothing about the Bills and why, like, a lot of Browns fans like them. They just can't stand each other's teams. The Bills kid hates the Browns team because they give him crap, like friendly crap, like you do with your friends, and vice versa. And I'm like, you guys, like, it is what it is. But I personally don't have no beef with the Bills because I appreciate what that team did for our team to make sure that we got the Browns back. Like I said, but I'm still not rooting for them. But
no,
I don't hate them.
No, I'm not rooting for them either. To me, the Bills and teams like that are kind of in the middle between the teams we see as rivals and the teams that we love here in Cleveland and in Ohio that we root for. I see a team like the Bills as the next person to be released from WWE or professional wrestling, because you want to get a reaction, whether positive or negative. You want to get a reaction. If you are mid-card on a WWE live event or TV show or pay-per-view and the crowd is silent, that's not good. I am one of those fans. Like, if I hear the Bills or see something that the Bills are doing or another team similar to them, I get nothing and I have no reaction to it. If people are fans of them and they have their reaction, I get it because I'm a fan of teams and I react to them. I don't really react to other teams unless they are a heel or the baby faces here in Cleveland. Those are the only ones I really react to as a fan. So
as far as I'm concerned, everybody else is just in our way. I don't like anybody else. I don't care for any other teams, to be honest. They're just in my way of getting into a Super Bowl.
And I wish our teams had the same mentality. The Cavs do. The Cavs do this year. That's returning. The Browns, not so much. They get in their own way too much, and that's still happening way too much. But a conversation for another day. That is going to wrap it up for this extra from the Voice of the Land. For Always Positive Jay, our producer extraordinaire, Peter Telep, I'm Kevin Arnold, reminding you to tune in live every single Sunday night at 7 p.m. at VTL_pod or on Big Play or even on YouTube at Voice of the Land Podcast for our live show. Catch the audio on all podcast platforms. Until then, until our next show next Sunday, thank you so much for tuning in. We love you all 3,000, and we will see you all on the next edition of the Voice of the Land.